Hey guys, this is Andy with Get Yer Wellies. Welcome back to the garden. Glad you can join me today. We're going to have a tour around the garden. It is now June 2nd and kind of want you to see how things are coming along. I actually still have things to plant, but the garden is coming along pretty well. Some things are just doing great. So we're going to take a look at that. But first of all, as always, why don't you get your wellies? Meet me in the garden. It's always nice to be able to show you things as they come along, and also to give you an idea of what may be coming up as we progress into the season. So some of you may remember these 4 tubs last year were where this bed for the sweet potatoes is now, and I grew sweet potatoes in all of these, and I didn't want them to go to waste. So I decided I'm just going to put some flowers in. I toyed with the idea of corn, but decided flowers would be good. So I actually have in this one and this one, I have zinnias, and I put these in as seed. They appear to be popping up. I actually did, and I can't remember which color, but I have purple and white ones. One side on this one was one type of seed, and on this side was the other. So it looks like the germination rate on one of those types is better than the other, but some of them are coming up, so I'm just gonna keep working with those. Now, it rained really hard. We had 4 inches of rain on Friday night in the space of a couple of hours, so it was pretty torrential. Not sure how that's going to affect this, but you know, there's zinnias. I can put some more in, it's not a problem. This tub, I've got these Mexican petunias. I had those in the water feature last year, and they just got kind of crazy and big and out of hand. These got really leggy, but they did make it through the winter time in pots, so I thought I'm going to give those a chance to come back. They actually look very healthy. There is some new leaf development here, and they're starting to grow. And in this tub I have different kinds of sunflowers, so taller ones this side, kind of medium size in the middle, and there should be some teddy bear ones coming up at the front there. And this one I planted dill. I wouldn't expect that to have come up just yet, but any day should start seeing some seeds from that. That's been in probably 10 days, so we should be close to getting some germination there. The sweet potatoes coming along. We've got hay in this bed, as I've showed you before. For the most part they look good. There's some leaf damage, and I'm not 100% sure what that is, but these generally get to the point where they grow faster than whatever's eating them, with maybe an exception here. This is lacy looking. I can never seem to find the culprit, but most of the time these get where they're growing faster than anything appears to be able to eat them, so I don't generally worry about them too much. I think overall they're doing fine, so we'll just kind of keep working with those. This bed does not have anything in it yet, but when I amend this, I actually had okra in here last year over at this end, and I'll probably do that again and then put something else here, and it probably tomato, pepper. I haven't planted any eggplants yet, but I may do that. That's another possibility, just not sure. The garden's still a bit messy, but it's way better than it was. If you've seen on any of the other videos what it looked like. These pipes right here, my plan is to mount these pipes up high, and they'll actually be not over here because these are peppers, but over in this bed above the tomatoes, and I put new tomatoes in there. We'll look at those in a moment, but I want something to string these to. I have tomato cages on the tomatoes, and I think they should be called pepper cages, not tomato cages, because they work much better for peppers. But anyway, that's a upcoming project, and I'll probably just have you tag along with that, just to see how I'm going to do that, because I do have an idea of using eyelets through these, but I'll show you when we get to that. So that one bed's still got to be done. This bed has nothing in it yet either, and I'm not sure what to do here yet. I have put squash in some other places in the garden, which is good. My only fear with squash is vine borers, which seem to be my nemesis when it comes to squash, and probably is for a lot of people. So I thought about doing maybe spaghetti squash, or maybe just move to something a little tougher, like kukuzi or one of those type of things, and then still plant some things at the back. So this bed needs just a little bit of clearing out and revamping, obviously weed eating around all this too. So we've still got some space here. Now these are peppers. We have jalapenos, and we have sweet peppers, and they are starting to put on flowers and produce a little bit, so I think these are going to do fine. Again, something is eating on those a little bit. So far I think they'll look okay. I did go ahead and put basil in the front of these beds. I put basil at the front because I can access it if I want to, but probably I'll just let these go to seed, because the presence of basil, it's such a strong smell, really seems to ward off the tomato hornworms, which of course will attack any nightshade. So I got a lot of things in this garden that are pretty vulnerable. So the peppers slowly coming along. I've still got more of those to go out actually. I've got some hot ones. I'm still working on hot peppers for a friend of mine. Now then, this is where there's a bit more action going on. These are the tomatoes, and I put these out, and they were pretty small. I put these out about 3.5 weeks ago. Again, I got peppers at the base of these, but you can see that we have fruit in here. One of those is split, but we have fruit in here. This one is a Chadwick cherry, and it looks nice and healthy, but it has already got into 2 or 3 now fairly big stems on here, so it's gonna need to be strung up, hence the pipe and the project coming up in the next few days. This one is the mushroom basket, and it is starting to flower a little bit. I see a few flowers here and there. This is pretty dense, and I've tried getting in here and pulling out suckers. I haven't actually seen that many suckers, and this one is actually described in some places as determinate, in other places as indeterminate. It looks to me more like a semi-determinate, so it's pretty bushy, and I guess I may need to thin that out some. I don't like my tomato plants being quite this thick, especially when it starts to get really hot, but I'm kind of watching that one close, and I'll decide what to do. I actually have a couple more of those to go in. This one is the blueberries. No idea where my little sign went. Something's been digging in here though. Not sure what that was. There's something been up in there. There's some tomatoes back there, I think you can see, and more coming. Quite a few flowers on these blueberries. I'm hoping are just as good as the blue cream berries, which I have grown before. This one's new for me. Again, that right now these plants just look so good. This time of year they just look wonderful. Now another month from now, that might be another story. Now this is a tomato I grew last year, and I thought it was okay. The production over here in the raised bed has been way better than in the buckets over there in the what was the rain gutter grow system. So we got more here. Everything's still green, but lots of stuff coming on like it should. I'm really hoping nothing gets to these because there's a lot of fruit on here. This one is determinate, so it'll run its course. Tomato cages work well for the determinate tomatoes like this one. I put those on here, and I have to talk myself out of this. Every year I put them on because I think, well, it'll be okay, I'll keep it all controlled and within the confines of the cage. But they don't. They go wild. So stringing tomatoes is a much better way of controlling them if you're going to prune them. And here in Arkansas, I do recommend that. These went in about a week ago. These I have not personally grown before, but some of the people I follow on YouTube are pretty big fans of the Thornburns Terracotta. So I have 2 of those in here. Then Tappy's Heritage is one I don't think I have grown before. If I did, it didn't do anything much. Then another Chadwick Cherry. So this one's obviously much smaller than what really is the tallest tomato I have right now is a Chadwick Cherry. So almost the smallest and the tallest are Chadwicks. But you know, they're looking good. I like the way they look. So let's take a look over here on the bed we walked past on the other side. So these are Kajari melons. There's only 2 making it so far, and that's probably okay. I'm probably not going to worry about planting more. What you see planted in the middle here is radishes, and my reasoning for radishes is if you let those go to seed, they will keep squash bugs away. I tested that theory last year. My inclination is to say there's something in that. However, they do have to be white radishes, and you do have to let them go to seed. So we'll see how these do. The last time I grew these, I got several melons, but they got attacked pretty significantly by leaf-footed bugs, which just kind of suck the energy out of things. So I had these cages around them for a while. That helps keep bunnies away. I don't know they do much more than that though. This is my little water feature. I changed this up because I decided I did not want to have a fountain in it this year. Really wanted to just kind of see how it would do just with plants in. I think there's a lot too much water in here. I probably need to drain a little bit of this off. Like I said, we had 4 inches, so really I just want the bottom of these pots in the water. The lettuce, the water lettuce, unfortunately no, it's not edible. Very prolific, anybody who's grown that knows that. And I just put some Wandering Jew over here just to see how it would do, and it's taken off. These other ones I'm not exactly sure what they are. This one's kind of almost a bit palm-like. I like the look of it. The texture of that plant is definitely a point of interest with this feature. But yeah, I'm gonna have to drain some of the water off, so I'll do that when we get done making the video here. Moving along on this end, I keep my little chive plant going. Probably it needs some fertilizer at this point, so I'll throw some in there. These are the squash. Again, I just kind of go into the season with squash not really optimistic about it because of the vine borer problem. I don't think as much a squash bug problem as a borer problem. So these are zucchini, these are summer squash. This container is pretty full, so you know, I'm probably gonna have to end up fertilizing this with some fish emulsion and such, because I've over planted it. But again, in the event we lose one or two or almost all of them, I want to have something left. And I will probably, once I see fruit forming, I'll probably go ahead and put some seeds in there just to kind of have some replacements on the way up. Again, radishes in the middle, they're white icicle radishes, but to hopefully keep squash bugs away. Here are the cucumbers, and these plants look pretty good. They are growing up the trellis very well. These got to where they got over the top of this archway trellis and down the other side quite a bit of the way, so they're doing good. There was a few let's see, a few little baby cucumbers around, not just super big yet. I don't think I have anything in here that's looking great yet, but they're coming, and it's not really hot yet. There's another one in there. So these are Monica variety, which is a parthenocarpic. So the flowers that develop all have the baby cucumber already on there. And there's an immature one. See that next to my thumb? I think you can see it. So this plant basically is loaded with female hormones, to the extent that the flowers are all female flowers. All of them are going to have the baby cucumber behind them. So they actually don't need a male flower to pollinate them at all. So if you were growing in a greenhouse setting, the parthenocarpics are a great way of not having to worry about pollinators being there. So they're a good option for that. If you theoretically had a greenhouse that did not have pests in it, or you put netting over this to where you'd have no worry about pests at all, they would still produce cucumbers for you. So the two I'm thinking off the top of my head is, this one is the Monica. It's originally, I believe, from Poland, and the other one that comes to mind is the Bait Alpha, which more people are probably familiar with that one, but it does the same exact thing. So it's a good one too. And I planted radishes, a few of which, here we go, a few of which are coming up. This is my attempt to get rid of the squash bugs. Yet to see one, but the day is young, the month is young. Let's see, the last of this basil is not looking good. I'm gonna put that in some water. These buckets I have not decided what to do. This is a little volunteer basil, and that is actually, interestingly, that smells of more like a Thai basil than it does sweet basil. There may have been a little bit of crossing going on here. Here's some rosemary. That looks pretty good. And then sage on this end. Still haven't decided what to do with the rest of these, but as the tomato plants are just doing better and better, being strung up, I am going to be hard pushed to do anything different with those, I think. Now these are all Amish paste. They are growing rapidly, so not sure, but this, on this setup, I have this piece of conduit, like metal conduit here, and I could gain more space by moving this that way. So I can move it over a couple of feet and then still be able to let these strings out some more. But that's the secret to the stringing them, is you got to have a way to push that that plant over. So basically you're lowering it and leaning it. It's literally called the lower and lean method. And so that's all you do. You just keep doing that as the plant grows, and then you put the string around. This one's actually getting a little bit tight, so I'm probably going to have to do something with this sooner rather than later. As far as growth, we definitely have flowers, and then there's a couple of these forming down here. These tomatoes are kind of, I think they're sort of, let me just get around here. These are like a ox heart kind of shape, but similar to Roma's, that kind of shape tomato. And they're what you would use for cooking. It looks like most of them have a few. Not seeing a ton of fruit yet. I don't see any on that one. I may be missing it. You may actually see it when I didn't, but I don't see one on there. This one has some. This one does, yeah, higher up. This one, I mean, it's not a lot for this many plants, but it also hasn't got super hot yet for them. So more flowers, but not seeing much here. Anyway, not to worry, all in good time. There's more down here, so they'll be coming. I'm not too worried. This side of the garden over here is really messy, so you can tell how squelchy this is, and it's taken the best part of 2 days to get where I can walk around here without it squelching every step. Anyway, so that's what we have in the garden part. So the roses are still pretty, still a lot coming, but also have a lot of spent heads, so this is going to need to be pruned again, and I'll do a fairly good prune, but not crazy hard. Same thing over here. This one, just, it doesn't matter how far back you cut this one, it just goes crazy every time. Over here is our black-eyed Susans, and still quite a few of those to flower. This space, there's not as many of them this year, but there's still a few coming up too. Over here is a bit more shady, so these take a little bit longer. Some of them are lying down already, but that storm kind of beat them pretty good the other day. This is the bee balm. It will flower next month. The irises, I'm thinking about maybe pulling and moving somewhere, or moving them to the back and planting something else at the front. This water feature, just a little bird bath we picked up on a trip, and I leave this here. A lot of people complain about birds getting into tomatoes and liquidy type fruits, and sometimes it's just because they're thirsty. So make sure you have water features, or at least minimally bird baths for your birds to help keep them out of your fruit, because it may help, and they definitely help keep the bugs down. So birds are an asset to your garden. Now, this rose is in a shady spot, so it's not the best place for it, but it needs to be deadheaded too. My wife kind of messed around with this corner a little bit, put some things in right here, and we probably need to do a little work on getting some more shade plants, some coleus and stuff back here. And I did get in here and hack back the ivy, but as you can see, it's already trying to come back. That stuff is just relentless. More roses. This bush I thought about taking out, but it came back looking pretty. It just needs to be deadheaded, and it'll probably give us some more roses before it's all over. The crossvine is actually, this is the first year that it's really doing great. I mean, it's done okay every year, but this year it flowered extra in the fall, it flowered again in the spring, it'll probably flower again in the fall, and I got to figure out how to propagate this, which I suspect will not be difficult. But it's one of those vines that if you like it, it grows quick enough to be kind of a pretty cover for a arbor or a archway or something fairly quick, but it's also not you're not going to be fighting with it like you would like wild honeysuckle or something. I mean, it's definitely manageable, but it's not quite aggressive, but it's manageable. Now my brother-in-law brought us a little twig of a blackberry plant, and he told me it's just going to send off branches and do its thing, and this branch is headed this way, so my plan is to put a wire from the posts in each direction and just train it on there for now. That's the plan. The dogs typically don't run behind here, so they're not tearing it up too bad, but that's what I'm planning on doing there. So these are some peppers. Some of these need to go in the ground. There's a few tomatoes, and I'll probably put at least a couple of those in the ground. And then these are the ones that are coming up. I've tried several rounds of these for a friend, and some of those are for me. This is a toothache plant, and it grows pretty slow. My friend Val is also growing that, and she's saying the same thing. Man, that stuff is just so slow. And it is. These are these are turning out really pretty, actually. There is a blueberry bush in here with a solitary blueberry on there, and I'm sure a bird will get it. These are live forever plants. It's actually one plant. It's just done really well. Some coleus and some other flowering stuff in here that my wife put in. Pansy's still going, viola's still going. Honeysuckle looks good. It's making its way over the trellis, the archway. This aster is doing quite well. The one in the other bed is there, but it's not as good as this one for sure. And my wife put like a wildflower mix in here. Here's some more basil. Let's smell this one. This one actually has a tie. They look like they should be sweet, but they're tie, so I'm sure we got some crosses that happened in the green stalk last year. Coleus, my wife finds these really cool looking coleus plants. Lots of basil. Basil is a wonderful thing to have in your garden, regardless of what type. Thai basil actually does tend to not get bitter, even when it's flowers, so that's a good option. I have probably I'm going to pot some of these, maybe move them to a bed before the winter and let them settle in before it gets too cold, and then have some fresh strawberry plants for next year. Green stalk still needs topping off. Not sure what that one was. Volunteer. Lots of basil volunteers. Clover volunteers. Don't need that. Anyway, but that is about it for the tour for today. Well guys, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing what's going on in the garden at Get Yer Wellies. It's a lot of work and still have a lot to do, but some of my plants are starting to do what they're supposed to do, and I hope that we get pretty good production. The tomatoes I'm definitely doing differently this year, so I'm really hoping for a good crop of tomatoes to show that all that moving stuff around was worthwhile. I am going to do that project where I string those tomatoes up and I'd like to show you that, have you tag along for that one, and that should be coming up real soon, because obviously some of those are getting tall enough I need to be doing that, and so you'll have a chance to see that, and we can talk about the benefits of pruning and stringing them up and that kind of stuff. But I hope your garden is going well. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope that you may be already starting to get some things out of your garden. Certainly some of my friends, they're way ahead of me, others are still behind, and that's kind of how it works sometimes, and that's okay. As long as you enjoy it, that's the main thing. So thanks again, guys, for joining me in the garden. I really appreciate you coming along and watching the video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and maybe share this video with your friends, and any of the other videos that have been helpful, by all means pass those on to your friends too. So until next time, bye now.